In today's video, we've got a new trailer on a brand new PlayStation 4 zombie game, and no, it's not Days Gone. There's another game that may have gone under your radar a little bit, but the new cinematic gameplay trailer looks pretty solid. Also, we've got an update on whether or not Sony is ever gonna go back into portable gaming. Of course, they've delved into portable gaming with the PlayStation Portable as well as the PlayStation Vita, but with the PS Vita not being too hot of a commercial success, many have questioned whether or not a portable device would ever be coming from Sony again, but it looks like a portable PlayStation platform isn't completely off the table. We've also got updates on the sales numbers of 2 PlayStation 4 exclusives, so we'll have more information on that, and then we've also got an update on when The Wolf Among Us Season 2 will be dropping, so we'll be talking about that at the end of this video. First, let's talk about World War Z, a brand new PlayStation 4 zombie game, and it just got a new cinematic gameplay trailer that shows off a lot of the gameplay. Now, World War Z is much different than a game like Days Gone, as it has a gigantic emphasis on high-octane 4-player cooperative gameplay, and it does promise gameplay across a variety of different locations, so that's pretty cool as well. World War Z, you can see a lot of resemblance to a game like Left 4 Dead, and that's a franchise that's been absent for a very long time. We never even saw Left 4 Dead on PlayStation platforms. It was an Xbox and PC exclusive, so a cooperative zombie-style game on the PlayStation 4 would be really nice. Of course, we have games such as Killing Floor that kind of fill that void, but not really. World War Z looks to be of a bigger budget, so it'll be exciting to see when this game does release on the PlayStation 4, hopefully sooner rather than later. And it would be best if this game wasn't released around the time of Days Gone, because I feel like Days Gone would definitely overshadow this game. They're both very different games, but on the surface, gamers would see them as action-oriented zombie-style games, and I think Days Gone would just be a buy before World War Z, but if you're interested, make sure you give a look at the cinematic gameplay trailer.
This will be the plague with which the Lord shall strike all men. We are all that's left of a city beyond redemption, fulfilling our sacred duty to free the souls of the damned.
Good to go up here!
Mindset. That should hold.
Father, forgive us. We shed this blood in the name of mercy.
Moving on from that, personally speaking, I absolutely love Sony and their portable platforms. I thought the PlayStation Portable was a massively underrated platform, and the Vita was even more underrated than that. Even though the Vita had a very short window of high-quality exclusives, that window brought games such as Uncharted Golden Abyss, Gravity Rush, Unit 13, Soul Sacrifice, Freedom Wars, Killzone, Mercenary, and I can go on and on. There were a lot of good games on the PlayStation Vita, and the PSP had so many great games. While it was a lot of remakes and ports, it also had a lot of great original titles such as Crisis Core Final Fantasy, Dissidia Final Fantasy, the Grand Theft Auto games. Both platforms had really good games, and PlayStation head John Codera once again spoke on the possibility of a portable platform, and he said this, quote, "In my opinion, rather than separating portable gaming from consoles, it's necessary to continue thinking of it as one method to deliver more gaming experiences and exploring what our customers want from portable. We want to think about many options." To me, the wording of that sounds like they want to go for something like a Nintendo Switch. I would definitely not be adverse to a brand new dedicated PlayStation Portable platform. However, at the same time, I can't see Sony doing something like that, as they've tried that with the PSP, and the PSP was actually a pretty big commercial success, but it looks like with how badly the PlayStation Vita floundered, I just don't know if Sony wants to consider a dedicated handheld again. And even with Nintendo, it looks like they are just going all in with the Switch as a platform that acts as a handheld as well as a dedicated console, because while they're still releasing games on the 3DS, you can see that platform getting lesser and lesser games. So I feel that portable gaming is something that is still definitely on the table for Sony, but they just have to present it in a different way. Let us know in the comments what you would want. Would you want a Switch-style platform? Would you want a dedicated handheld? I know personally speaking, I want a dedicated handheld. I just don't know how many people are in the same boat as me. Moving on from that, we've got sales numbers updates on 2 games. First, Ni no Kuni 2 has been confirmed to ship 900,000 copies worldwide. Now, to the naked eye, 900,000 copies does not sound very good, and that's shipped units, so that doesn't include digital sales, but but that also is just shipped through. Not necessarily all of those 900,000 have been yet sold, but they are planned to be sold. And then of course you throw on digital sales on top of that, maybe this game has already broke 1 million, which is pretty good for a niche Japanese RPG like Ni no Kuni 2. I think that's a gigantic success for Level 5 and Bandai Namco. Ni no Kuni 2 was an excellent JRPG, so if you're a fan of Japanese RPGs and you're not one of those 900,000s or maybe north of 1 million, if you include digital sales, you should definitely get on it, and the game is already seeing some pretty significant discounts. I've seen it around $40 pretty regularly, and considering the game was released in March, that's pretty surprising.
Careful, everyone! I need your help!
Now let's talk about everybody's favorite PlayStation 4 exclusive, and that's God of War, of course. We knew that the game sold 3 million units very quickly, but now we know that the game has surpassed 5 million units sold, and that was revealed by PlayStation head John Codera. It surpassed 5 million units in its first month, and to put that into perspective, God of War 3 sold around that many units in its lifetime. And this God of War game has done that in month 1, and of course God of War hasn't even experienced its first holiday season, so while of course it's made the bulk of its sales already, it's gonna sell a lot more copies in the holidays when gamers are picking up their PlayStation 4s, and God of War is gonna have a very high attach rate with PS4s, and just generally that's a game that a lot of gamers are gonna ask for Christmas and other holidays, so that is going to increase sales even more. Horizon Zero Dawn sold around 7.6 million in a year, so I very much see God of War surpassing that, no problem. This is probably gonna end up being the PlayStation 4's best-selling exclusive ever, and that's pretty incredible. Now it's gonna be interesting to see how Spider-Man does, because that's a marquee exclusive as well. If Spider-Man can surpass God of War's sales, which I think is entirely possible, because in my opinion, Spider-Man has even more mainstream appeal than God of War, and if they can actually deliver a high-quality Spider-Man game, I think there is no ceiling for the commercial potential of that game. And then, of course, next year we will have The Last of Us Part 2, and who knows how that game is gonna sell. If Spider-Man delivers, I could very well see that topping God of War, which saying that just sounds absolutely insane, but for now, what we do know, God of War has surpassed 5 million units in a month, and that is pretty ridiculous.
And I think it's safe to say that we liked what we played.
So first things first, I'm noticing R1, R2 for your attacks.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
a big change.
Yes, indeed. No more face buttons. I believe that is still an option that you can select as an optional thing, but you're going to see why when you start playing the game. It's a lot more tactile. It's a lot more immersive. And here we have a parry. You still got that classic action from God of War. And I'll say something, you know, this axe, this Leviathan axe.
There it is.
That's rad.
So cool.
Just throwing it back and forth.
And it just recalling it, you can look at that, tripping enemies.
Oh, yeah. So tell me how
Bam.
the actual mechanics of using that axe works. You throw it like a boomerang?
And finally, Telltale Games is one of the most notable studios in the world today. Many would argue that The Wolf Among Us was their best game ever, and of course they are finally working on The Wolf Among Us Season 2. That has been confirmed. Unfortunately, it will not be launching in 2018. It has been confirmed that the game will launch in 2019 rather than the second half of 2018. That's disappointing. Over on Telltale's official website, they said this. This delay comes as a result of a few fundamental changes here at Telltale since we first announced the game last summer. Most importantly, we're committed to exploring new ways to tell our stories. Taking this extra time will allow us to not only focus on quality, but also experiment and iterate in order to craft something truly special. Ultimately, our goal is to deliver an experience deserving of the passion you've consistently shown for The Wolf Among Us, and these extra months will give us the time we need to do our best work. We're extremely enthusiastic about how the game is progressing so far, and we can't wait to dig even deeper. So while the game has been delayed until 2019, it looks like this delay comes from a good place, and considering the quality of The Wolf Among Us Season 1, they have a pretty high standard to live up to, so take your time on this one, Telltale. That is gonna conclude this video. Let us know your thoughts on everything in the comment section down below. What do you think about World War Z? Is that a game you're interested in, or is the overkill of zombie games kind of turning you off at this point? Personally, I think the game looks pretty cool, and it could be a pretty good cooperative experience. What do you think about Sony considering more options for portable gaming? Would you like to see a brand new dedicated PlayStation handheld, or have you shied away from handhelds? Are you playing games on your smartphone and that's the future? Let us know your opinion on that. Also, what do you think about Ni no Kuni 2 shipping 900,000 copies worldwide? While that pales in comparison to God of War, for a niche Japanese RPG, that's pretty good in its own own right. And speaking of God of War, that sold 5 million units in just a month. Looks to be the best-selling PlayStation exclusive of all time. And unfortunately, The Wolf Among Us Season 2 has been delayed until 2019, but it looks like Telltale are hard at work on the game. Sound off with your thoughts on everything in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.